probably one of the toughest teammates I've ever had, Moose Johnston. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, Deion. How you doing?
Excellent. First of all, your jacket was so fly yesterday. I just need just send me the swatch. Send me the swatch of it.
You got it.
What color was the pants?
Dark gray.
See, the difference between you and I, Moose, you will calm it down with the pants. I would have had the pants to match the jacket. That's the only difference between us.
I haven't got there yet. I'm getting close.
Oh, you're there. Oh, you are there. You are there. And I appreciate our last lunch gathering. Very interesting. And I owe you one. Now I got to bring you over to the hood so you can eat with me so we can have a good time. I know you're not scared of that because you're all of that. You embody that. And I appreciate you, man. We got to get down to football, man. There's a lot going on in Cleveland right now. What do you think about this?
It's tough. It's tough like every time you have a change like that in season. The players are resilient. They want to win. Obviously, when a change like this is made, there's something wrong inside that only the people inside know about. So, as you hear,
Moose, I think we lost the vote. There you go.
That to me is the most important thing. So, you're going to get close, but you're never getting over the top. So, if you're in that situation, and we've seen it again here to start the season in 2018. So that to me was one of the biggest reasons that a change was necessary.
Well, necessary. So you saying you advocate of the firing of their head coach, but as well as, Todd Haley as well. So I'm asking, with that sense of urgency, who's going to call the plays?
Yeah. Well, has everything been final? The last I heard was there was going to be a meeting here shortly, a staff meeting here shortly to kind of map out the plan going forward. So, I mean, obviously Todd Haley does have head coaching experience in his background, but not a very successful stint at Kansas City.
I'm hearing
the guy that I've heard Al Saunders' name being mentioned, which, under the circumstances with the personalities of Todd Haley and Greg Williams, might be the best option for Cleveland in that situation.
Well, I'm hearing, did Todd Haley get fired as well?
Yeah. Yes, correct.
So Todd Haley got fired as well, Moose.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. Who's going to call the plays? And how abrupt is that to fire two men simultaneously? It don't make sense to me. It seems like it's a debacle. You have no game plan to move forward because this was so impromptu. I don't know if something blew up with Haley, but we're guesstimating right now. But it's just indicative of the type of organization the Browns have been over the last decade.
Exactly, right? That may be the most important point we walk away from this whole discussion with is it seems like nothing has changed in Cleveland. Whether it's the inability to get some stability at the quarterback position, the inability to get stability from the head coaching position, the inability to create a direction moving forward. That just seems to be the common cause here. And you bring in a head coach in Hugh Jackson with an offensive background, and then you bring in an offensive coordinator to kind of change things up. And as you point out, you say goodbye to both. So, where does that leave you with the number one overall pick in the draft, Baker Mayfield, to be your quarterback of the future? I mean, he has no idea what's coming. So, unfortunately, some of these franchises seem to be a little bit snake bit. And, Cleveland, I think everybody hoped that John Gruden was going to fix what's going on in Oakland. But you can see with all the change that's going on out there, that's going to be a very difficult transition. And I don't know. And I thought, I'm a big John Dorsey fan. I thought that maybe the stability that he would bring to the personnel department and the front office area would start to trickle into the staff and towards the back of the building. But it appears that that's not going to be the case here in the first year.
Deion Sanders and Daryl Moose Johnston filling in for Rich Eisen, who's coming back from London, having a wonderful conversation about the NFL. Let's talk Cowboys real briefly because I don't want to spend a lot of time because they're not a playoff team right now, so I never really spend a lot of time on teams that I don't feel like is going to the playoffs. We got people that really want to place and assess blame on Jason Garrett. Get Jason out. And I'm a little different, not just because he's our former teammate, but just because it's not a lot to work with. Personnel-wise, I see offensively out outside the numbers. You just went and you made a trade, and you're going to bring in a receiver, which to atone for not getting Calvin Ridley on draft day. But when we hear get Jason out of there, do this, I never hear them talking about the person who is responsible for acquiring the talent.
In Will McClay. Or I mean, that seems to be one of the big questions.
Right.
Dallas is who is acquiring the talent.
Right.
So, to me, this is a team that walked in the Travis Frederick injury with the diagnosis of Guillain-Barré syndrome was a huge impact to this team. They thought they had the left guard position sorted out via the draft. That has not proven to be true right now. The offensive line is not the offensive line that it was 3 years ago.
True.
2 years ago, and this is an offense built around that offensive line. I think going into the season, bringing in Sanjay Lal and hoping that he would be able to elevate the play. I thought they brought in some good wide receivers. I like Deontay Thompson. Alan Hearns. They seem to bring in some good guys, and you're hoping that they all kind of rise to the occasion. There was not a true number one there, but we've seen other teams do wide receiver by committee, and it's just not working for Dallas right now. And I think the main reason is that offensive line is not playing to the level that they've played at in the past that allowed Ezekiel to run the way that he did, that opened up things for Dak Prescott down the field because you had to commit extra people in the box to stop the running game. I don't feel like people think they have to do that anymore. I think they feel comfortable with 7. And they're able to play the defense that they want to play. Dallas is not dictating anything
right
offensively, and when they had success, they had the ability to dictate to the opposition.
Well, two teams that can dictate are the Saints and the Rams, and I cannot wait to be a fan this weekend. I cannot wait to see this game. It's two profound quarterbacks going at it. Two defenses that got some holes, and both offenses can exploit. But how do you see this game playing out this coming weekend?
I think it's just like you. I'm going to be a fan for this one. We've had New Orleans a couple of times this season. We had them against Baltimore a couple of weeks ago, and they did some things that nobody had done to Baltimore up until that point. Baltimore had not allowed a second half touchdown all season long. And with the game on the line, New Orleans was able to sustain 2 drives for touchdowns at the end of the third and beginning of the fourth quarter. They're not the team that we used to think they were when it was Drew Brees in the passing game, with Mark Ingram, with Kamara. This is a very unique, very dynamic team, and they really stress defenses. And then that defense has been really the reason that New Orleans always had to be so good offensively. It was always a shootout. They were always trying to keep pace with their opponent because their defense, wouldn't hold up. Well, that defense is vastly improved, and maybe a stumble they had the first couple of weeks. They've gotten that remedied, and Dennis Allen's group is playing very, very well. It's a very good front. They've got a young secondary, but they're playing well. I'm interested to see that matchup. I think that's going to be the great matchup. It's one of the best rush defenses in the league going against Todd Gurley, and then the Rams could stretch it the same way the Saints can with the run and the pass. And then how does that secondary match up against the receivers for the Rams?
This is Deion Sanders talking to 3-time Super Bowl champion Daryl Moose Johnston on the Rich Eisen show, filling in for my humble host, Rich. Last but not least, who is your NFL MVP thus far?
I go with Brees.
You're a good man. I know I love you, Moose. That's why I love you, man.
I know everybody likes Mahomes. People are talking about Gurley, and those are guys that are having a great year. But I'm always a fan of the body of work. And one of the things that we learned doing one of our Saints games is that Drew Brees has never been the league MVP. He's been runner-up 3 times. I think it's to Manning, to Rodgers, and possibly to Gurley last year. But he's never won the league MVP. He's done everything else. His body of work throughout his career, coming back from that possible career-ending injury and doing what he's done, I just think it would be a shame. I think the consistency that he has shown throughout his career, what he has meant to that Saints franchise. It's funny when people talk about the system. in New Orleans, the system is Drew Brees. That's why it works here. When he leaves, there's going to be a huge transition into that next phase. So I just think that the season he's having right now, if he continues on this pace and what he's done throughout his career, I really don't see anybody else that you can give it to besides Drew Brees. Patrick Mahomes is having a great season. It's his first season as a starter. I don't even know if he has a season like this ever again. But to me, it's based on the body of work by Drew Brees.
And a 77% completion percentage, which is unbelievable. Yeah. And one interception on the year, that is unbelievable, man.
It's phenomenal to watch him play. He raised eyebrows when he set the completion percentage record last year at almost 72, and he's 5 percentage points higher than that this year. It's amazing. I've watched good quarterback play. You and I were both blessed. You've been blessed to be around a number of good ones. And when our time in Dallas, Troy was considered one of the most accurate passers in the game at that time. And to watch the way that Drew attacks a defense is absolutely remarkable. Even working off the standard that I'm used to with Troy Aikman.
Yeah, this could be the NFC Championship preview. It really could be this weekend. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. Moose, I love you, man. I appreciate you. You keep on dressing and doing what you do. You are a treat to listen to. You're a treat to know. You're an overall good dude. And I'm glad to say I played with Moose Johnston, man.
Glad to call you, teammate. Look forward to our lunch.
I got you, man. God bless you, Moose. You take care.
All right, take care.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.